Alrighty, folks, let's put this show on the road and hope for the best. Stream looks to be fine. Okay then, today will be a much shorter one, being about 30 to 45 minutes, but we'll see. I already revealed what game I'm going to be playing. It's going to be a bit more of the obscure titles, one of the many keys I received over the time. Oops. Sound is glitching. Well, thankfully this time it didn't crash. There was a weird issue where the first two times the game crashed. Greetings everyone, my name is Adderville, and welcome to my Let's Try of Nom Nom Apocalypse, a roguelite twin-stick shooter developed and published by Deadleaf Games. I'll be spending at least 30 minutes on this title, giving my first impressions along the way. And for full disclosure, I received a key from the developer in order to LP their title. This game was originally released on February 13th of 2020. Well, someone's getting fired. Oh no, he used the cheeseburger as a mushroom. Now it's up to the 4 chefs to save the world. This scenario is totally out of a B-movie. We play as a band of chefs in order to stop the invasion of We play as a band of several chefs in order to stop the invasion of the marauding food. In order to stop the marauding mutated food. Looks like we started with an SMG. Any enemies yet? Here they come. The cheeseburger spiders. So now we have a shotgun. That's a close range. Now we have French fry arachnids. At least that's what I'll call them. So press shift to activate my super move, which speeds up my movement. I think I prefer the SMG over the shotgun. It provides much more sustained DPS. As these are my first impressions, I apologize in advance for any silly mistakes or false assertions I'll make, and this will be edited down in post a bit. Hang on. Not that I really need more health. I'm just doing it for the sake of the tutorial. Yikes. These traps are really damaging. I mean, look how much HP I lost. Look at how much HP I lost from walking over them. Look at how much HP I lost by walking over them. And you're right, Mr. Lee. The 3D graphics are simplistic, but they're functional. And you're right, Mr. Lee. The 3D graphics are simplistic, but at least they're functional. And they're clean. And they're not messy. Well, that's a big one. Let's take out the small ones first. Taste for survival. And now is basic training. These loading screens will be edited down in post as well. Quick rundown of the controls. Quick final rundown of the controls. Good point, Jaden. At least this isn't used simplistic. Good point, Jaden. At least this game's graphical style isn't the overused 2D 8-bit sprite work. Haha, value meal combo. This is probably hot grease. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mind having sprite work. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mind having more sprite work based games. What I would like is more variation in designs. As in less 8 and 16-bit sprite work. As in less 8 and 16-bit based. As in less 8 and 16-bit sprite work. Can we have some sprite work from the PS1 era, for example? Can we have more sprite work from the PS1 or Sega Saturn era? Yikes, the screen shake is a bit extreme if you were to ask me. Let me turn that off. It's getting a bit annoying. That's annoying when that happens. It resets my visuals. That's a lot better. If there was a way I could reduce the screen shake manually, I'd really appreciate that. If there was a way I could reduce the intensity of the screen shake, I'd prefer that. Instead of a binary toggle. Oh. We don't have infinite ammo in this game. We have reserves too. If I knew this in advance, I'd use my other weaponry more. Now I understand why we have stuff like the shotgun. It has better ammo efficiency. I want to go to this vending machine. Yeah, that's awesome. So save the best weaponry for the bosses. Power grease, ammo. But there's a max limit for ammo too. The Scream of Kabashi. So kebab plus Banshee. Goodbye. Downtown cleared. So there are 5 stages in every run. Can I go to different levels? Are there different level? I know these levels are procedurally generated. However, can I visit different levels? However, for example, for level 2, are there different possible locations? So we're back to the SMG, freeze weapon, and the assault rifle. But my ammos were filled to full. You're right, Mr. Lee. You're mostly right, Mr. Lee. For Hyper Parasite, really only 2 of the boss battles were tough. Those being Death from Above and the final boss. The rest of the bosses, the main difficulty was the enemies. For the rest of the bosses, the main difficulty were the enemies that summoned. For the rest of the bosses, the main difficulty were all the enemies they summoned in. So far the game isn't too difficult. So essentially a burst fire rifle. Once again, I'll save it for the boss battle. There doesn't seem to be a limit as to how many weapons I can hold in my person. So I can only hold up to 3 weapons on my person. At a time. Suddenly, enemies are dealing a lot more damage. Suddenly, enemies are dealing more damage. So that's actually a bomb. Yeah, this weapon isn't really that good. Check the title of the video, Magnet. There's a limit. On the top left is my health bar, power meter, ammo, money. Top right is the map, and below that is my score. There's probably a boss coming up. And so the vending machines. Beware of Cookie Ma. What? Why did he take so much damage there? Whoa. Close dodge there. Salty Slayer. Other characters I can play as, each with their own pros and cons. Now let's buy some perks. If these levels don't take that long, I'll do one complete run, assuming I don't die in the middle. Nope, no DLC, Mr. Lee. So the first stage was downtown. The second stage took place in a candy store. What's this place then? Really, YouTube? I think the con is the opposite. Not enough guns. The enemy designs are pretty neat. There's not too much repetition in terms of that. There's not that much repetition, at least visually. And the knife isn't too shabby either. I mean, look at how much damage it deals to regular enemies. As an emergency backup weapon, it's pretty formidable in its own right. Only downside is that it freezes you in place for a short while. The only downside is that it freezes you in place for a short while. But that can be mitigated by standing farther back. I guess I already had the microwaver then. Ice blocker? That looks cool. No pun intended. At last, a powerful shotgun that can actually freeze enemies too. Note to self, avoid the lobs. I never use that vending machine, so I should be able to refill once. And twice. Full game, Jaden. It's one of the many games I have keys for. We're almost there. I can feel it. There's always a series of vending machines just before the boss battle. Attack of New Durgora. Just spam left click with the assault rifle. Sewer cleared. 2 stages left to go. I expected to die a few times by this point. From what I've seen so far, this game isn't that tough. Welcome to someplace. I'm gonna replace the freeze wave with a longer range weapon. It's too risky to get close to the enemies. Oh no. At least that wasn't instant death. I didn't realize I could just walk off the stage. You're right, Jaden. It's probably a supermarket. Oh no. I didn't expect it to have a triple grenade launcher. I will say that in comparison to the bosses, some of the enemy setups are a lot more dangerous. Power Grease would probably be more handy with a more offensive character. The Power Grease would probably be more handy if I was playing as a different character. Okay, this is more handy. Oh, wow. Those enemies rush towards you really fast. Kinda wish there was an on-screen indicator for them first. I think the candy corn gun is currently my favorite weapon in the game. For its high ammo capacity, because its full auto fire has a large ammo capacity, because of its high rate of fire, large ammo capacity, and full auto fire rate. Plus, it's fairly accurate too. Usually these high rate of fire weapons aren't really that accurate. But in this game, that honor goes to the shotguns. It's basically a souped up version of the SMG. And the boss this time is Terrors of the Pancaker. So this stage took place in a school. Oh, I didn't expect this boss to have a death ray. That laser beam wasn't that... I expect that laser beam to be a lot more deadly. Goodbye, Pancaker. Nope. I'm happy with my current weapon set. Only one more stage left to go. Look at all these perks that I unlocked. Look at all these perks that I can unlock. Resurrect once from death. That'd be an awesome backup. I'll get that just in case. And to correct my earlier statement, this is a college. This stage took place at a college. We're back outside again. Oh. Well, we just got forward. We're gonna have to destroy this giant monster from the inside then. And we're battling all the enemies we encounter throughout the game. By the way, this game supports local co-op. I wish I could have a grenade launcher. The grenade lobbing enemies are some of the most dangerous ones. Like that pasta. They deal more damage than you think they would. So far, all the stages I've encountered have been remarkably straightforward. In fact, they have a very similar design plan too. Oh no. Splitters. Get me through. All the levels so far have a pretty remarkably same structure. We go through several rooms, fight enemies, go to a room which has a split pathway between a locked door and a not locked door. We have to go on the open pathway, collect the key, backtrack, and open the gate. And open the gate with the key. That's been the trend so far. Good, we have a rocket launcher now. It'd be nice to have a vending machine. It would nice to have a vending machine soon. Indeed, Jaden. This game has been on the rather. Indeed, Jaden. This game has been on the more simplistic side. Outside of its quirky premise and food-based enemies, there isn't really that much to distinguish it. There isn't really that much to distinguish itself from the pack. There isn't that much to distinguish itself from the pack. The pack of roguelites and roguelikes, that is. Good, so we have some health. One moment. We're coming up to the final boss. Alright. Let's battle them. Nope, not yet. Nope, not there yet. That was just a midway point. I was hoping that the rocket launcher would have more punch to it. I mean, in terms of damage, that is. In terms of damage, that is. Not. It already packs a hefty amount of knockback. Whoa! Didn't realize that was explosive. Let's backtrack for a moment. Look at all the money we have. That's all. Even after getting one health even after getting one refill from the vending machine, look how much money I've left over. Now we're going on to the final boss. Nomageddon. Suddenly we're outside again. Oh, didn't expect that. It does telegraph it, but you need to be quick. Oh no, game's lagging now. Can we do it? Can we save the world? Yes! Nomageddon has been destroyed. The world has been saved. And it only took one run to do so. Toughest boss of the game, but that was due to a combination of all the projectiles and the sudden lag. Like I mentioned before, I thought this would be tougher, but lo and behold, in this Let's Try, I completed the game. If anything, I could mark this as being a Let's Play and mark the completion now. If anything, I could mark this as being a Let's Play and there would be barely any difference, outside of re-recording the intro. So, here are my overall thoughts on Nom Nom Apocalypse. It's okay, I guess, but it doesn't really do much to distinguish itself from the pack of roguelike and roguelite. It's okay, I guess, but it doesn't do much to distinguish itself from the pack of roguelike and roguelite. To distinguish itself from the pack of roguelike and roguelite shooters. Outside of its quirky premise and food-based enemies, that is. None of the weapons outside of its quirky premise and food-based enemies, that is. Even the weaponry... Everything feels rather rote. Everything feels rather similar. Everything feels rather similar and, dare I say it, repetitive at times. The best thing the game does is vary up its enemy design and attack pattern. The best thing the game does is vary up its enemy designs and attack patterns. But outside of that, the game is kind of lackluster. Weaponry really needs a rebalance. Several weapons really need some rebalancing. The long-range ARs and rocket launchers outclass the shotguns. In fact, I think the emergency knife outclasses most shotguns. It's a formidable weapon in its own right. Only a few weapons outclass it, and that's supposed to be an emergency use weapon, not a primary weapon. Co-op will probably be more fun, but I doubt it'll break up the monotony. Even the stage design was basically the same from level to level. The only differences were the different enemies and the only differences were the different settings, enemies, and traps. The only differences were the settings, enemies, traps, and bosses. Bosses were fun to fight, although some were definitely easier than others. The The final boss was suitably difficult, but I think the second and third boss should be reordered, to be placed earlier. Nevertheless, I wish the best of luck to the developers of this title. This was simply an okay experience for me. It gets the basics right, but not much after that. It gets the basics right, but more needs to be done on top of that. Well then, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. Oh yeah, and the difficulty needs to be increased. The main challenges came from the enemies, not the bosses. And some enemies were so much more dangerous than others. For instance, the grenade lobbing ones. Probably they may... You would think that the swarmers would be really hazardous at short range. You would think that the swarmers would be hazardous at short range, but no. Longer range enemies are more hazardous. With the exception of the explosive cupcakes. In any case, thanks for watching the stream everyone. Hope to see you all next week, and thanks for all of your comments.